What up, Rubber Ducks? It's your favorite friendly neighborhood podcasters here.
Quack, quack.
Just here to tell you that this podcast is going to have some spoilers,
Whoa.
some swearing, and some opinions.
Lots of those.
So just, heads up. Love to your mothers. See you later. Bye.
Word to your mums.
Yep.
We came to drop podcast bombs. I don't know what they look like.
Podcast bombs.
I don't know. Okay. See ya. Hello and welcome to 250 Reasons to Stay Indoors. I'm Jordan.
I'm Keiran.
And this is the podcast where we watch the IMDb top 250 films. We use a random number generator, it tells us what to watch, and we let you know whether it was worth staying indoors for. What are we watching today, Keiran?
Today we are watching Some Like It Hot.
Hot.
And it is from 1959. It is 117 on the top 250 list.
Yeah, I recognise the name from this one. I'm not sure where. I've heard it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so what do you think it's about then?
I'd love it to be just like a really inspirational underdog story of someone who enters chili eating competitions. Like some...
Oh, I reckon it all just leads to a point where the protagonist goes up and says, some like it hot. And that's just all the film is. It just leads to this moment, and then he wins the final.
And then, like, someone in the crowd just like, oh, shit, that's the name of the film.
We should make a film about that. That sounds great.
No, just imagine if it's like dodgeball. But instead of playing dodgeball, it's chili eating. And then, like, in groups. Just that. That would be good. So, like, a comedy sort of thing.
Oh, okay. No, that sounds real good.
What about you?
No, I think it's some kind of... Actually, you know what I think it is? You know how there's there'll be a group of old TV presenters who do TV shows where it's like, I can't remember any TV presenters' names just off the top of my head. So it's
Parkinson. No way.
Maybe Parky, like Claire Balding and like David Attenborough.
Okay.
We're going across the country to test out all the different sausages across the UK.
Oh, God, yeah.
And it's like one of those hour-long...
That would be a Jack Whitehall thing, won't it? With his dad or something.
Yeah. Now, imagine like a bunch of those old presenters go to Spain and they have an exotic time and they call it Some Like It Hot. So I think it's a slightly racy, but like a bit like, ooh, kind of racy, as opposed to actually racy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I reckon it's a bunch of old people trying to be young. And it's actually a film about youth and about age and growing old and stuff like that. All right, so let's go watch it.
Yeah, let's do it.
See you on the flip side. Nice.
Thanks. And we're back with a couple of fast thoughts. Seaside.
20s.
Bicycles.
Prohibition.
Yachts.
Mafia.
Whiskey.
Gender stereotypes.
Spats.
And we're going to finish it with creepy old men.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Yeah?
That's good. Okay.
I mean, they're not that's not good, but that's that's a thing.
Hey, to each his own.
Why do you always do this?
To what?
Like, I say something that is definitely not good, and you're like, oh, well, here's an excuse that pretty much allows it. The last time was like, there was a film that was set during the Second World War.
Okay.
And I was like, and you were like, yeah, 1942, good year. And I was like, not a good year. And you're like, oh, depends what side you're on. And I was like, no, it's still not any good.
Hey, look, I'm open-minded. I look at all angles.
Moving on.
To each his own, Keiran. Are you ready with your 15-second pitch?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not convincing me. Okay, right. 3, 2, 1, Go.
Marilyn Monroe stars in the film where two musicians have to dress up as women to run away from mafia shooting people. They go to Florida and two people fall in love. Long story short, the mafia people come and find them again. And as they get killed and the people have to run away, they end up happily ever after in a boat and they go home. That was terrible. That's like the worst. That's the worst summary I've ever done.
I mean, it's 17.5 seconds, but that summary was arse.
That was so bad.
You did not give me much good content.
No,
just some people, and then they get shot, and then they run away, and they live happily ever after.
No. I'm giving myself like a 5-second penalty at least for that. That was really bad.
I think at least. Okay, do you want to go through a proper synopsis of the film?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So the film starts with this sort of like what is it? Like a chase. It's a chase scene with like a funeral car, but it's set in the 20s, so they're like old cars. I'm getting distracted by some sort of flying mosquito thing. I'm not sure what it is. But I think I'm being bitten.
Guys, you should have really seen that. Like his eyes were on me just talking normally, and he really started drifting around. And Jordan, for God's sake,
sorry.
How old are you?
Sorry. So then there's a chase scene, and then we end up at a funeral parlor. The guys sort of managed to give the police the slip. And we find that inside is actually
a load of booze.
Yeah, it's loads of booze. We realise it's obviously Prohibition era. Era.
Thank you.
Era. There you go. Yeah. See, I'm learning. And then
it's a speakeasy inside.
It's a speakeasy. Yeah.
Place.
Yeah. The police raid it, and not before we sort of are introduced to the two main characters, Joe and Jerry. So this is Joe is a saxophone player and
tenor sax, no less.
Yeah. And Jerry plays the bow fiddle.
The bow fiddle. It's pretty cool. So that's double bass for everyone else.
Yeah. And that's the big wooden one for absolutely everyone else. So we sort of find that those two are able to sort of slip out during the raid. And that's sort of that job over. So they're looking for more work. Joe knows about a tip on a dog, so they use all of that payment to put their money on that, and they lose.
No, they put their coats on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they don't get the money, so they put their coats on it and they lose, so now they have no coats and they're poor.
You see what the dog was called? Grease Lightning.
Grease Lightning.
Yeah, Grease Lightning.
I don't know why that feels like such a imperative that you put money on that. Oh wait, no, he said it was because he had a tip, didn't he? That yeah. Anyway, so they're going through like a music agency, multiple music agencies, asking if there's any work. They come across one, and obviously they know the people at the agencies, and Joe seems to have a relationship with the receptionist of some sorts. So the receptionist, who seems to be annoyed with him, tells him that there is a job that they need to speak with the guy. I can't remember who his name is, but the actual guy who's sort of running the agency. And they go in, and basically it turns out that it's only for women. It's a female band, and it's for 3 weeks in Florida. So obviously they want that, but they're not female. So they kind of give up on it. Jerry's really keen on the idea of pretending that they're female, but Joe's not into it at all.
Yeah.
So they go away, and they're sort of trying to come up with some new plots. There's one gig that's about 100 miles away or something like that, or no, not that much, but there's one gig that's fairly far away and in the cold, and they need to drive there. So they're borrowing.
I'm pretty sure they said it was 100 miles.
So okay, maybe yeah. They're borrowing the receptionist's car, and they go to the garage where it's kept.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the garage, we are introduced to the character who was in the speakeasy previously, this gangster guy, Spats. Now, he's walked in on what seems to be like a card game against some more mafiosos. And
these are just guys in the garage.
No, they're wise guys.
Okay.
They're wise guys. And actually, this wise guy, the leader of this wise guy, I think he's called Charlie, is the one that snitched him.
Is this Toothpick Charlie?
Yeah,
right.
Snitched him out to the police in the first place for the raid.
Yeah.
So Spats is out for revenge, lines them all up, and shoots them. Joe and Jerry are in the back of the garage, hiding behind a car. They get spotted, and Spats is like, "That's it, you're gonna die. Like you guys are dead." But one of the wise guys that they shot is still partially alive and goes for the phone. And this causes enough of a distraction for Spats and all of his men to turn around. Joe and Jerry make their escape. Now it's clear to them that they have to go for this gig in Florida because it's the best chance of them getting away from Spats and away from all of this, trying to like lay low. Mm-hmm. So they dress up as women, they go to Florida, and they get the gig and they go on the train. Mm-hmm. This is where we're first introduced to Marilyn Monroe, plays Sugar. Mm-hmm. And
she plays the ukulele.
And she plays the ukulele.
Which is the really, really small guitar, if you didn't know that.
It's the small wooden one with strings.
Mm-hmm. Not the violin, smaller than that.
Do you want to take the train story?
Yeah, I'll take the train to this part of the synopsis. Okay, so at this point, Jerry and Joe have decided that they're going to be called Geraldine and Josephine. And when they go onto the train, the manager of the band and the band conductor are saying, okay, who are you? You come from this agency? Oh, okay, cool. And so Josephine says in his lady voice, I'm Josephine. And Geraldine says, I'm Daphne. And they're like, what? Well, yeah. So Josephine's like, what the hell? And they get on the train and she's like, oh, I actually never liked the name Geraldine.
Classic Jerry.
So he takes Daphne. So from now on, anytime that we mention Daphne, we're talking about Jerry. And anytime we're talking about Josephine, we're talking about Joe.
Yes.
So there's different roles here. Now they get on the train and they do some rehearsals, and Joe and Jerry, these people, they're playing too straight up, and they give this pretense that they spent some years in the conservatoire and that they're kind of posh and whatever else, because I guess that's their best lady voices. And but they kind of rough it up and they make the music more interesting, whatever. And we introduce more into how amazingly beautiful Marilyn Monroe, Sugar, this character is.
Yeah.
They have a little party in their bunks one time because Daphne and Sugar, they have a little conversation. And there was one point where Daphne covered for Sugar. But what started off as a little cute conversation turned into, oh, let's bring some more drinks up into the bunk and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And so they have a massive party on the train, and they got like ice cubes on the train. That's something we'll come to later. But the party ends up getting called off because Sweet Sue ends up hearing about it. When Daphne pulls the emergency brake of the train.
Because they're tickling.
Because they're tickling him, and he's like, "You're gonna find my fake boobs." And
basically, yeah. I mean, that'd be pretty scary.
They get off the train at Miami, and they walk.
Florida.
Yes, which is in Florida. Miami is
Florida.
A city. Miami is a city.
Yeah, you're right.
And
I don't feel bad for not knowing America.
Well, I feel good for knowing America. So there you go. And so they walk into this hotel, and there's a whole load of old millionaires just chilling on the end at the edge of what would you call that? The not balcony, the terrace. The terrace,
yeah, maybe
whatever,
something like that.
And Daphne is struggling with some bags, and there's some creepy old man who's helping her out a lot, and they go in the elevator together, and he evidently tries it on with her in the elevator.
Yeah, gets a slap.
Go upstairs into the room, and Joe has decided that he's going to become a different person, because on the train, Joe and Sugar, so Josephine and Sugar, had a conversation where Sugar was telling him all about the different men that have been pricks to her, and so she just wants a man who's a bit more vulnerable and harmless and wears glasses and is clever and whatever else, and also a millionaire and has a yacht and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's going to pretend to be one of these people. He steals the glasses off of the band manager, and where does he get the clothes from?
It's all from the band manager.
Oh yes, So he's taken the suitcase.
The only man on the trip.
Yeah. And so he dresses up as essentially a well-to-do member of society with glasses and all of this, and everyone goes to the beach. Daphne and Sugar and all the girls, they're playing with a ball and whatever. The ball gets thrown over to where Joe, and now he is Shell Oil Junior guy. So as in Shell Oil,
as in the oil company Shell.
Yeah,
Shell Oil Junior.
Shell Oil. He is
junior of Shell Oil.
The junior of Shell Oil. And so He's talking to her, but not really giving her much to go on because Sugar comes over to get the ball, and Sugar's trying it on really hard, whatever. And she's like, "Oh, you should come watch our show tonight." Yeah. Daphne comes over and realizes that Joe is this woman. Joe is this guy. Anyway, so they all go back to the hotel room, and Joe Junior Shell Oilman is still on the beach. And Daphne's like, "Oh yeah, let's go back to the hotel room. Yeah, I'm sure we'll wait to speak to Josephine because he's thinking that like there's no way."
Yeah.
But what's actually happened is that Josephine like
somehow manages to get
up there and just goes straight into the bath, fully clothed with foam all over it.
Yeah.
And that go take over.
Yeah. So later on, they're playing the show. Before that, there's a call to the hotel room, and it's the creepy dude telling Daphne that he wants to take her out on the boat.
Yeah.
Joe overhears this, and he's like, come up with the idea that actually what's going to happen.
No, Joe takes the phone call.
Oh yeah, of course. Sorry. So basically, Joe says that he'd be seasick and that he wouldn't be able to do that. But not after finding out that the entire boat would be completely empty. So, basically Joe plots to use the boat as a front as his own, and bring Sugar out there because they'd be out there on their own. It'd be really romantic and all that.
And Daphne's like, "What am I going to do?" And so Joe says to Daphne, "Well, you say that you're seasick and go somewhere else."
Yeah. So they're at the show. The creepy dude is waving at Daphne.
Send some flowers.
Yeah, send some flowers. And then Joe cleverly sort of switches out the cards and gives it to as if it was sent for Sugar. And as they finish
from the Shell Oil guy.
And when they finish playing, she goes out to meet him by the pier, and Joe like zooms out and finds a bike and rides and literally just gets there in time.
They do like the fastest change you've ever seen.
Yeah. So then he boats them out to the boat, and they enjoy a romantic evening where Joe, as the Shell Oil man, explains that basically he can never feel anything towards a woman since this catastrophe with the first ever like love of his life sort of thing. And Sugar, like, basically is just trying really hard to give Joe a boner. And
that's
basically it. Like, they spend the whole night just doing that.
And I completely debate the fact that he didn't have a boner from, like, day one.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that.
Okay.
And then, meanwhile, Daphne and the creepy man, I don't know, I can't remember what his name is, but we're just calling him creepy man.
Yeah.
And they're just salsa dancing all night. Joe comes back to the hotel room the next day, and finds out that Daphne's actually got engaged, and he's madly sort of in love with the idea of the creepy man's money. And so he's given
also the creepy man's security as well. Like, he did say like, "Oh, I've never felt so secure with someone."
There's a conversation between them and Sugar where they explain sort of the night they've had, and they go downstairs and they're all sort of laughing and joking. Then they find out that actually Spats is here. He's supposed to be celebrating Italian opera fans. They realize this, and then they quickly go back to the lift, but Spats and his crew also go into the lift with them.
And they're like, "Have I not seen you guys?"
Yeah, they kind of almost make them.
And they're like, "Oh no, I haven't seen you."
But they also find out what room they're in. They go to their room, they're packing up their clothes, and they're trying to get down the... They try and escape.
Not yet, because Josephine / Joe / Shell Oil guy realizes that he has to say goodbye to Sugar because he's trying to run away. And so, and on the night before, Daphne has been given a really lovely bracelet by the creepy guy. And so Joe takes the creepy guy's bracelet and gifts it to Sugar, and it's like just outside her hotel door.
Yeah.
And so she gets this lovely bracelet and whatever else. Now they try to escape, and they're still in their female clothes, and they escape by shuffling down the edge of the hotel. But they shuffle outside the hotel, like right outside the room that the mafia guys are in.
Yeah.
And so they're running around the hotel. and Jerry and Joe find themselves inside a room, and they hide under a table. And this room is where all the mafia people are supposedly celebrating Italian opera, and Spatz and his men are taking the seats just at the table under which Joe and Jerry are hiding.
Yeah.
Now there's a big old cake where someone is hiding in, and someone jumps out of this cake and shoots Spatz and his men because I guess they screwed up.
The guys then like run away.
Yep, they run away.
And all of the mafiosos see them, so they're now all after them. Daphne...
they managed to get away for a second into a telephone booth.
Yeah.
Daphne makes a call to the creepy man and says, "We need your boat. We need you on your boat. Let's get married right now. Let's go meet me at the pier," kind of thing.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Joe is they're still in their female clothes.
Yeah, and they're still running around.
Yeah, and he sees the band performing, and Sugar is all sad and everything, and Joe goes up to her and starts making out with her, or just gives her a massive kiss, but obviously everyone notices this, and they run away. They continue to run. Mm-hmm. They run to the pier, and they get in the boat. Sugar has found a bike, and
because Sugar basically has figured out who Joe is now because of the kiss.
Yeah.
She loves her.
Oh, yeah. And they get on the bike and cycle all the way down to the pier. She jumps into the boat, and they speed off into the distance.
End of film.
Boom.
Okay, so...
Did you like the film?
Yeah, I did. Kind of got bored in the middle of it, and then got interested in it again. So, liked it, then got bored, then liked it. At what point
did you get bored?
I'd say it was sort of around when they first got to the hotel. So I made a fair amount. Like, it was somewhere in between the train and the hotel that I checked out.
I mean, there was nothing between the train and the hotel.
But I'm just saying, like, between... If you picture the train scene as a block,
so the bus journey between
and the hotels as a block, I kind of was interested in between those blocks. I lost interest in between those blocks.
But I don't understand. There isn't a block, because the only block you're talking about.
Use your visual mind.
No, because
think of the visual texture of it.
Shut up. This is. No, because in the film they have the party. And Sweet Sue's like, "What the fuck happened here?" And then they just snap straight into the...
Yeah.
So
somewhere around the party scene. If you're making me get really specific with it, and it's hard to like...
Because it will all happen on the train.
And
then
when you're bored.
So you were bored in the 5 seconds that they walked from the bus to the hotel.
No, I'm saying somewhere around, like... So I was still bored for a great deal of the hotel situation.
So you were... Going back on your word. You're going back on your word.
No, I'm saying that right. So if you think of the film in thirds.
Oh, yeah, because we're doing the 3-act structure. I still don't know what this is about. The 3-act structure.
Just a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's pretty straightforward.
Okay. So beginning is before they get to the hotel.
No. I'm thinking it's more accurate if you just think of it as in time, not what's actually happening. It's sort of like the middle third. I was bored.
What? Oh, okay.
The middle of the film. To go back to what I originally said.
So so the whole film was like 2 hours long.
Yeah. You
were bored in the second 40 minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, did you like the film?
Yeah, I quite like the film. Yeah, I thought it was nice.
Where did you get bored?
In the 7th, 6th,
in the 32nd decimal 7th of the.
Yeah.
Left. The left quadrant.
Check out that maths.
Thank you.
I don't think I really got bored, because the things that might have bored you, I think, quite interested me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because it was romantic and it was funny, so it was all right. I think it might have been one of the original rom-coms. I'm just going to put that out there. Maybe it was.
Yeah, the romantic parts of it didn't actually bother me too much, which is bizarre.
Because they were quite funny. And they were quite tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
Okay. But I do have a fair bit of beefs.
I have a couple of beefs. There's nothing major. I want to hear your beefs
first, because I always say my beefs first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first. Go.
Okay. So one of the first things is when they go to that speakeasy, and there's an organ playing, and it's all very somber, and then he opens a door, and then it's like jazz and a band, and it's all loud.
Yeah.
mad soundproofing.
Oh my god,
how the
incredible
hell did that
soundproofing.
happen? That's
No,
just
seriously.
ridiculous. Like, how would you?
They must have had really good soundproofing back in the day. But I think what actually might have happened back in the day is they would go downstairs to a basement.
Yeah, like naturally it would go down and the sound is reduced because it's underground.
But still, I reckon the door would have been like really hella thick.
Yeah, it must have been. But I mean, from what this film showed me, I was going to say shoon. What this film showed me was a very clear, you just almost step over the threshold and then sound.
Because you would almost think that like as the door was like, or as they got nearer to the door, you might have heard a snip. Well, no, actually, because okay, I guess in reality that it would have had to be absolutely silent. Maybe they needed the organ player to play because in the background, if there was complete silence in the funeral place, you would have heard like.
Maybe. Oh, that's a good point. Okay,
as soon as the door was like.
Yeah, that's how it went. Yeah, that's how it's pretty accurate portrayal. My next beef is also with it. Basically, most of my beef is contained to that one, the start of the film.
Okay.
So the next one is just how they got out of the raid without getting captured. They literally walk past two policemen. Like, they just scuttle behind two policemen that are trying to capture, like, girls.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think that they would be able to slip out as easily as they do.
Also, how heavy is a double bass? Because he was just whipping it around
not
like
very
it
heavy,
was
apparently.
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it was made of different wood back in the day, but
maybe, yeah. Well, it had bullet holes in it, so maybe it was airy.
Yeah,
maybe
considerably lighter.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, it's a good point because there's like a particular drunkard in the speakeasy that just stumbles past.
I want another cup of coffee.
So the front is that the speakeasy, like you can't ask for alcohol. You say, "Oh, I'd like a cup of coffee, please."
Yeah,
and then
it's like, what kind of coffee would you want? Would you like Irish,
American, or Scotch?
Yes, yeah. Scottish or
bourbon coffee. They pretty much just say it pretty straight up. Yeah, and so this drunk guy who's like, I want another cup of coffee. He just stumbles out of the rounding up of everyone, and then finally does get arrested and whatever. But I just find it a bit weird that all the showgirls get arrested because it's not their fault. Like, they're not running it. They're not drinking.
Yeah, but they're there, aren't they? And they're making a profit from being there. They're profiting from illegal things.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, let's say I'm providing some background music in a brothel. Like, am I getting arrested then?
I would very much imagine you would get arrested.
Even if I was just playing Valerie.
But no, I mean, there's a difference between being arrested and, being charged with something and being, actually like prosecuted. They could arrest you under the suspicion of doing something. If you're in a brothel and you're playing,
mm-hmm.
you could potentially be running the brothel and you just like to play there.
What, just like busking?
Yeah,
okay.
Like, there's...
There mustn't be a bad place to busk, to be honest. If you're busking in a brothel, which is the name of my next autobiography, then I reckon that's not a bad place because people are dropping tips left, right, and centre. And if they're walking past you whilst you're playing, I don't know, Girl Put Your Records On by covering Belly Ray, then it's like, oh, I really like that song. And they're liking the way that I play it, then they might, give me a fat tip that they've just, of like, the likes of which they've just given to the person that they've just had their penis inside. I don't know. I'm just saying, just throwing that out there.
Yeah, that's entirely possible.
Extend your licenses to brothels, because you never know what make you like.
Please, come on.
You never know what.
Because you never know what you never know what.
You never.
Kieran Pearson, 2018.
Okay, moving on. What's your next beef?
There was a line that what's his face? Snaps?
Spats.
Schnaps. There's a line that Spats says that's
Scooby Snacks.
You won't breathe air. No, you won't breathe nothing. Not even air. And it's like
What else would you have been breathing?
But that's exactly what I wrote. It's like, I didn't want to say that because then I thought you'd be like, oh no, well maybe Jordan, you'll breathe water because you can technically do that. You just will die. Which is what I immediately thought after writing it. But I was like, come on, like,
surely
that just doesn't make sense.
No, it is just dumb.
Maybe you'll breathe custard. It was stupid, and it was just a weird line. I felt like it was unnecessary.
Yeah. Also, I wrote spats loads of different times because I didn't know what spats were.
No, I didn't realise what they were until the end of the film.
So I wrote it SPATZ, and then I wrote it SPAT''S.
Yeah.
Because I thought Spats Colombo was like Colombo belonging to Spat.
Right.
But Colombo is the surname and Spats is the first name, which I guess is a nickname because Spats, which I Googled, is an item of clothing that is used as a dust guard.
You Googled that?
What Spats were?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You couldn't figure that out?
No.
From the film?
No.
Really?
Not until like halfway through.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Oh, wait, you Googled it whilst you were watching the film?
Yeah, I was like 50 minutes in and I was like,
okay,
fuck are these? So I Googled...
No patience, this child.
Well, not much. I Googled SPATZ. And it was like, did you mean spats with a Z, with an S? And yeah, so it's a dust cover for your shoes. But when you have a white dust cover, then that just gets dirty and looks gross. So what's the point of... Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's not like spat, single parents alone together.
What?
It's from a film about a boy. I didn't know if you'd seen it or not.
No. Why would I have seen that?
It's a good film.
That doesn't mean that I've seen the film, Jordan. Lord of the Rings is apparently good films, and I've not seen those.
That's fair enough.
Anyway.
Come on, hit me with some beefs.
Okay, let me hit you with some beefs. So double basses are not that light. Yeah. I also talked about sound.
Check.
Yeah, soundproofing. That's another one.
Check.
Okay, a lot of my beefs were quite a lot later on, right. But talking about the shootout and when one of them kind of is just about alive enough to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
There was like 4 of those mobsters, just like proper Tommy gun at the people there. Yeah. How is there any chance that any of them would have survived enough to pick up a phone?
Oh, okay, right. I just felt like they gave up really easily.
What?
As in, like, there was no... It was like, oh, you drew your guns first, I guess we die.
Well, yeah, but what are you going to do?
Try
because the... I mean, sure, but like the boss is there. The boss is there. Because I guess in that kind of instance, it's like you let your leader... Because there was the leader of that little crew.
True.
You let your leader try and talk them out.
Yeah, okay.
Because you ultimately trust.
Next one.
Yeah, next. The whole thing about ice on the train, like what the fuck was that about? Like since when does a train just have a massive block of ice in it?
Well, have you been to a train where they have refreshments and such?
Yeah.
Right? They have ice on those trains?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the big deal? What's wrong with that?
Okay.
They don't have fridge freezers back then.
Okay, so back in the day...
So it's easier to keep a large block of ice cold than lots of little blocks. Also,
they didn't have ice cube trays, because they would just transport blocks of ice from lakes. Like, and they... Yeah.
Were you trying to set this up as a beef so that I could reveal that you had knowledge?
No, I'm just kind of trying to work it out in my head as I go along.
Okay.
But I just find it really weird that So the one refreshment they would have had is water, right?
One of the refreshments they would have had, yeah, I would assume.
Because you can just help yourself to glasses, to these little paper cups.
Yeah.
And ice. Yeah. And water, can you?
I guess so.
This isn't so much of a beef as it is just like trying to figure out what the fuck a train was like back in the 20s.
Just trying to figure out what the fuck went wrong. Why can't people just get water on trains these days? Why do we have to pay £1 for a bottle of something... Why do we have to pay £1.40 for a bottle of Evian and then like 90p for a bottle of Diet Coke on offer? Water should not cost as much as it does.
Yeah, that's kind of bullshit. The stuff falls from the sky.
It really does. It really does. And it's the same stuff. It just goes round in a circle. Sometimes it gets just put through other stuff.
It's recycled water.
Just think about that.
I'm so political on this show, man.
Yeah. So what's your next beef?
Yeah, Jeremy Corbyn, get in touch. So
yes,
all right, that big party that they have.
Yeah.
On the train. How is Sweet Sue not waking up like from the start?
Oh my god. Biggest amount of bullshit this whole film fed me was that she didn't wake up. There's literally women falling out of the like bunk.
The bunks,
they can't
screaming.
all fit in it, and they're screaming and making drinks and clangering and making noises.
They're clangering. That famous thing, clangering. and yet Sweet Sue only wakes up when there's an emergency stop on the train. Granted, an emergency stop would be quite a big thing to wake you up, but you would be woken up way before that point.
That is what us in the dream stealing business would refer to as a kick.
Very nice. Call back
you.
to Inception. Very good. Okay. So my next beef is about the creepy dude whose name I still can't remember.
Yeah.
I just fucking despise him as a character. He gets under my grill so much.
Why?
First of all,
is it the smile?
Yes, it's his laugh as well. It's the it's the breathless laughing. It's the oh fuck off. Just yes, that shit. It's like just goddamn laugh. You absolute weirdo. Also, I mean, he was inappropriately touching women.
Yeah,
and whether they're women or not, it doesn't matter. And so, one thing I really like about this film was the way that Daphne / Jerry got a real insight into what it was like to be a woman. And in fact, I think he is ready to transition.
Okay.
I think he's gender fluid.
Yeah.
And I think he's already he was open to if you like cross-dressing.
He was pretty. He was the first one to suggest it before they were under like any stress.
He's like, let's just take the 3 weeks, and the other guy was like, no, let's do everything we can before we have to take these 3 weeks. He's like, fuck it, let's just cross dress. It's fine, we can borrow some dresses or whatever. So but the fact that he had a time where he tried out being female for a whole date as well.
Yeah,
where they went and did the salsa dancing and stuff, and then he realized that he actually had a great time. He wanted to marry this guy. The guy's gender fluid. And he doesn't want to put a label on it. I think if he wants to go trans, he can. I mean, whatever. I think that's kind of nice. But the creepy guy is still creepy as fuck. And he was just being gross. Also, he uses his catchphrase, which is Zowie. Like, who the fuck even... I mean, no. I mean, that's so old-timey. But, like, you can tell even back then, people were like, yeah. And then he said Zowie. And I was like, hell no. It was all fine until he said Zowie. But by that point, that was like the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah. On the point of the gender fluidity, I liked that for a film that came out in the 50s, the fact that like at the end it's almost like a big punchline where so he's explaining to the creepy dude that they can't actually get married. He's giving all these reasons. He's like, I smoke because the creepy dude's mum doesn't like people that smoke. Blah blah blah, like all these things. He's just like, we can't get married. Why not? Because I'm not a woman. And he's just like. Nobody's perfect. And then the film ends. And I just liked that for a film that came out in the 50s, it was kind of, although it was sort of made to be like a final joke, it was still sort of, what am I looking for? It didn't
okay, I'm going to tell you what I think about this, and then you can say if you agree.
Okay.
So, I reckon at the time, it was all like, oh, it's being a man, it's being a woman, oh, how ridiculous, and all that kind of stuff. And especially when they have a conversation about two men getting married, blah, 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 that kind of revealed the actual thoughts behind it. Yet today, it has a different kind of relevance. Now it's like, oh, yeah, it brings to mind a lot of acceptance and a lot of understanding for different people. And so what I like is the fact that even though it's supposed to be a joke, it kind of brings a lot of love and understanding to a relationship or to a film.
I agree.
Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, it's like there's some in as much as like it's in a joke, but it's the way that it's said. It makes it carries such little weight.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like whatever, no big deal. But I still don't like him as a character because he says lines like. So he was all like, he got slapped in the face by this woman, which is, if I ever get slapped in the face by a woman, that's a very big sign saying, don't try it. Just don't try it on. And what?
Just trying to think if I've ever been slapped.
I can't.
No, I'd never be slapped in that situation because I'd never do that. But
right. So,
just in general.
But he still says you don't get off that easy. I'm like, fucking hell. Like, the whole thing of men
that's
just...
That's a no, my friend.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a hard no.
Exactly. One of my biggest beefs is Joe, the Shell Oil Junior guy.
Yeah.
Where is his accent even supposed to be from?
I know.
Come
Me
on.
and Papa were on the train, and then but I'm kind of Brooklyn, but not an American,
But I'm a
and
bit
English,
British as
but
well.
really not really sure where I came from.
Exactly. He kind of is a bit of a cross of Michael Caine.
Yeah, it's like a person making up an accent.
Yes, and also Siri as well.
Yeah.
I just don't understand the British Siri that's supposed to be.
It reminded me of someone from Tom and Jerry. It might be like the dog in certain, if he was voiced previously by, I don't know. It's an accent that I've heard in Tom and Jerry. A lot of this film reminded me of Tom and Jerry, just in terms of like the music and stuff like that.
They're chasing around the hotel and
those Tom and Jerry themes.
Okay. By the way, another thing, rattling through. They have a whole conversation about, but you can't get married. Like, you're a man and he's a man. And I wrote a massive thing. Gay marriage is fine. Being gay is not a problem. And yeah, so maybe my thoughts were a bit too progressive for a 19. Was it 59 or 57?
I think it's 59.
Right, yeah, maybe a bit too much for 1959, but never too early.
Hey, but voice power to you. You write your opinions down in the book.
I also wish that Sugar was more powerful. I just wish she had more confidence in her own agency as a woman, and she didn't have to be completely reliant on a man.
So Sugar, have you? This is the first time I'd ever seen. I'm kind of segueing
I've never seen Marilyn Monroe
now, really, to be honest. But this is the first film I think I've ever watched with Marilyn Monroe.
Me too.
Always aware of Marilyn Monroe and who she was and that sort of thing. But yeah, no. So I was like, okay, yeah, Marilyn Monroe is pretty hot,
dude.
Like,
are you kidding? It's unbelievable. Like, if I was back in those days,
it's pretty darn impressive.
I would have been absolutely smitten. Like,
yeah,
unbelievable.
But I read a couple of interesting things about the filming of this and her as sort of an actor.
Yeah.
So there's a scene. I think it's in when they're going into the party. When she comes into the party, the Kieran showed me his notepad and it just says Marilyn Monroe in big letters, taking up like a third of the page.
Yeah.
So when she goes into the bunk and it's like, it's me, Sugar. It was 47 takes to get her to say that correctly.
What?
Instead of saying, it's Sugar, me. Or Sugar, it's me. Yeah, literally 47 takes.
What?
The director had to write it down in several places, but then she'd forget where it was written down and look in the wrong place.
Was she just like a hopeless case? Or was she drunk? Or was she...
She had a lot of issues, I think. And there was a lot of things she wasn't very good at.
It came across that she was actually a really good actor.
Yeah, I thought... I mean, she was playing someone who wasn't the most clever of people.
But she did that really well.
Well, maybe she did that well because she wasn't the most clever of people.
Oh.
You know what I mean? But no, I agree. She did. She was a compelling actress. But yeah, no, there was a couple of things like that where they just had to redo lines over and over, and she didn't get invited to the wrap party after the film because the director was just so like, it was such a shambles trying to get this person to. She also had it in her contract that it had to be in color.
What?
Yeah, but when they filmed it in color, the makeup and the clothes that Joe and Jerry wore, it showed them to be a little bit like slightly green. So it was like, no, it has to be black and white. Yeah, it was just like the filming and what the technology they had those days.
And the copious amounts of green eyeshadow.
Copious amounts of green eyeshadow, yeah, obviously.
Okay.
So yeah, there was that. But yeah, Marilyn Monroe.
Fuck. Just...
Boop boopy doo.
Oh my God. I wrote that as a note. I was just like, oh God. At that point with the whole boop, oh, goodness me. By the way, do you think they were actually playing their instruments? So I don't think they were playing their instruments and that's what we heard, because there were many times that we heard bass and he was just talking and not playing bass. I reckon they actually do know how to play their instruments though.
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
Because the miming was really convincing.
Some bits of it were, yeah.
And also the other people playing their instruments as well.
Yeah.
I was like, well, okay.
Yeah. I could buy that some of them know how to play their instruments.
Even Marilyn Monroe looked like the chords that she was playing were somewhat... They looked like chord shapes.
I did have a note though
ukulele,
that like lip syncing has aged, like has got a lot better.
It's got a lot better, but we've seen a lot worse.
I just want to say though, like it has been so fucking hot here recently.
Oh,
and when I watched this, I don't like it hot, and this is painful. This was pain. I was like,
to watch people being
just
hot?
No, just like just the idea. It's just so sweaty, and I was like, I don't want to watch a film about people liking it hot. I don't like it.
Well, something that I made a note about sweat is that so you see when Joe and Sugar are both at the same time running to get to the date.
Yeah.
And they're cycling and whatever else. I made a note: don't run to a date.
No,
I made that mistake before.
Oh, don't run anywhere.
I mean, you will not run for anything.
No.
No. There've been times
away from a fire.
Okay, well maybe but I've never seen you do. There's times where like, okay, so Jordan and I used to live together, and he would be so kind as to wait for me to leave the house, but I would spend so long tying my bloody shoelaces that we'd be late by this time.
Yeah,
and I'd be like, Jordan, there's a bus, let's run for it. And I'd run for the bus, and I'd be at the end of the road where the bus is, and Jordan was like, I'm not running for a bus. You cannot make me run for a bus.
I will not run for a bus.
That man will not
run for a bus.
He will not run for anything.
I don't want to be on the bus. I'm not going to run to be on it.
Exactly. And I was thinking, being late for a date is far better than being sweaty on a date.
Oh, God, yeah.
And there's no way that him in his three-piece suit wouldn't have been sweaty.
If you could be someone, Keiran, who would you be?
I would be Sugar, and I would be a lot more independent in this film.
Yeah.
And I
would be Sugar, and I'd just look at myself in the mirror. I'm not that lowbrow.
We have previously been that lowbrow. So.
Yeah.
But I think.
I mean, I do other things as well. I definitely would do that. But
sure.
I'd go on with other stuff.
But yeah, because I think that she could be a lot more. I mean, she already is fairly direct, but she's just very dependent on the guy and the
I mean, her
relationships.
Her ideal plan is around marrying a rich man.
Yeah,
and that's the best it can be.
So essentially, I'd like to challenge the ideals of the day.
Yes.
Cool, Jordan.
I would probably be. I really struggled with this one, like to think of who I would want to be, because none of the characters I felt like particularly interested me in any way. Like. None of them jump out as being flawed in any way that I would want to fix. Does that make sense?
Okay, and you didn't just want to come and kill people straight away. Is that what you're saying when you say
no,
flawed?
No, I'm not going to just come in and kill people. I mean, I think the one character that bothered me the most was the head of the mob guy. You know?
Okay, yeah. You know, he had a hearing aid. It's like
that was cool, wasn't it?
Hearing aids, yeah.
I just didn't like how he handled himself. He did not look like he should be the head of the mob. It was just, I know it's a comedy, but if I was to be anyone, I'd be him and be a lot cooler than that.
Okay,
you know, like just play it a lot cooler instead of like this. Where he was saying that Spats was like, some people are saying he's getting too big for his boots. But I would say he's actually quite a good guy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be doing any of that. But then it wouldn't be very funny. So, you know, if you came to my version of the film, you probably wouldn't have as much fun. But it would only be for that small section that he's in. Okay.
What about if you were to bring someone into the film? Sorry. Can I quickly mention like the quickest bit in Bob?
Yeah.
The dog that they bet on being called Grease Lightning.
Yeah.
I think that's where Grease took the name for the car Grease Lightning.
Maybe.
I just think, what would the dog be in a racing car, and they would want the car to be named after something that was fast. I think it might
be
from that.
Maybe.
That's just a hypothesis that I'm putting out there for a day that we might find out if that's true. I'll be like, Keiran said
I'm not sure if that's in the top 250, but if it is,
it's not in the top 250. Grease is definitely not in the top 250. But you know,
it could be. I mean, it's quite a popular film.
Doesn't mean it's any good. But anyway, that's just a hypothesis. That's just a hypothesis I have. Who's the person you bring in?
I'd like to bring in Terry Crews.
Okay, and be the one black character in this film. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that. But so I'm thinking, have you watched White Chicks?
Oh yeah, I fucking hate that film.
Okay, but his character from that.
Okay.
And he's just like super into both Daphne and Josephine.
Yeah.
I just watched that play out. To be honest, I don't know what I wouldn't necessarily orchestrate anything. Just have him there.
Okay.
And see what happens. I feel like that could be a fun time.
That's brilliant.
Terry Crews chasing both of them down like the beach or something. I don't know.
Sweet.
What about you? Who would you bring in?
I think I would bring in Dwayne The Rock Johnson from the Baywatch movie.
I haven't seen that, but
okay, he's just basically
just Dwayne The Rock Johnson on a beach.
Yeah, because he's the lifeguard of the beach, and I don't really want him to, because there was no
and the lifeblood of the film.
Well, there you go.
Thank you.
I don't think like he was particularly it wasn't as if like there were many beach safety contraventions. However, when I feel like there should be more of a rule about who takes the seats when on the beach, because Joe or Shell Oil Junior guy, when he went and took a seat from the mum and the kid, he was like proper mean to that kid. He was like, "Beat it, kid," and the kid was like, "Mommy," and I was like, "Fuck."
People were meaner to children back then.
That doesn't make it any good. So I just wanted, what I want to see. I want to see Dwayne The Rock Johnson come up, pick up the chair, and put it over his head, and he's like, "Who the fuck do you think you are?" And then like throw him. He's like, and then he would just go over after he was not beating the guy up, but he would give him a proper like lecture about.
Just turn him into like a Pringle or something, a pretzel, and then huck him into the sea.
There's that, yeah. And then he would go over to the kid and he'd be like, "You know what? You deserve to have a chair for as long as you want." And then it's like a really emotional scene, and then just snapshot into the hotel. The film carries on. So just like a quick cameo from Dwayne The Rock Johnson does like a little nice emotional, life-changing moment for this little kid, and that's it.
Okay,
there we go. Would you stay indoors to watch this film?
It's difficult. I wasn't like overly amazed by it. I think one way I kind of judge is whether I would like look away to my phone and stuff like that. Because when we I don't know about you, but when we watch films for this, I do pay a lot of attention.
Yeah, me too.
Because I'm making notes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if it's a film where I've got bored and like started looking at my phone and stuff like that, then it's like a film where even if I'm paying attention to it, I still get bored. Then maybe it's not one. So I'm going to go with no.
I found it a bit tricky at points too, because I did enjoy it, and I found myself genuine. There's a lot of great lines.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really funny, witty humor, actually, which I wasn't expecting it to be like that well written.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for the writing of it was really cool. I think for the time as well, it would have been great. And I thought, for all of that stuff, it was really cool. It just didn't have enough of the stuff to really pull me in that much. So I'm going to say no.
Okay. See, yeah.
But it was still decent, though.
It was. And it's not like with Inglourious Bastards how I felt like you could just watch maybe 3 clips of the film and that would be enough. I feel like there's more to this film than that. And it for the time and everything, it does do itself justice, but it just didn't quite do it for me. So personally, if listeners you're one of the people that would align with some of the films that I've said I liked or disliked, I would give this one a miss.
You know what, actually? Thinking about it now, if it came on telly and it was there, I think actually I might stick it out.
Yeah.
Because I do find it more entertaining than I find it, irritating or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of really nice parts for it, and I just thought the characters were mostly pretty cool. I'm going to do 180. I'm going to say do stay indoors.
Okay.
But it's not the best one that there's
been. Flip flop, eh?
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick to my guns.
Stick to your guns, mate.
Go outside.
Also, if you do want to watch this one and you don't want to wait for it to come on telly or something, you can find it on Netflix.
Yeah.
And that's UK Netflix. Sorry, US or anywhere else in the world.
Maybe for US we don't know, but for UK, you can catch this one on Netflix.
Sweet.
So, nice and simple for you. So yeah,
there we go.
What are we going to watch next week, Kieran?
Next week we are going to watch Fargo.
A very, very far way to go.
No, don't. So every time that I say Fargo, I'm thinking, okay, I want to do all I can to avoid dead jokes like that, and it feels like you do the opposite, Jordan.
I love the dead jokes,
and that kind of hurts me a bit.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
I'm not going to apologize.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I'm
that's
not
okay.
sorry. So
all right, okay, cool.
Okay.
Well, anyway, so see you next week.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. And that's the end of the podcast. Gonna hit you with a nice little haiku. 250 reasons. Is that 5?
Yeah. Don't worry. I did the exact same thing when I was trying to work out what a haiku was.
Let me start again. 250 Reasons is a great podcast to hear. Like and subscribe now.
Yeah, okay. I counted that along. That's what a haiku was. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're so proud of yourself. All right,
Thank
Jordan.
you.
Where can people send their praise to, Jordan?
250reasons@gmail.com.
Yeah. And what about on social media?
Yeah. At 250 Reasons. Facebook, Instagram,
Twitter. And they can subscribe
on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Acast, and Podbean. And YouTube.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay.
So well done, Jordan.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day, everybody. See you next time.
Bye now.